All right, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to another edition of Tuesday at 10. Thank you all for taking time out of your busy schedules to come and let us know how things are going, share some little pieces of knowledge, little pieces of advice, ask some questions, and get a good check in for the week and set the tone for the rest of the week. And now we're in a new month. It's exciting. So jumping into March. So yeah, let's pick up where we left off. Liz, I hear you're letting us know how your deals are going. How's business? How's family life? How's everything? Give us an update.
Well, everything's moving along. Although I think one of my deals is kind of in jeopardy right now, so I'm trying to save it between today and tomorrow because tomorrow is the last day of option period. And the other deal is moving on well. So, it's you can't complain. It's part of working through option period, and it's like I tell every buyer and seller, when you get the executed copy, that is just the beginning of the work. Even though they stress to get through the executed copy part of it, but we as agents have to ensure them we're going to be there every single step of the way, and that they feel comfortable and confident that we also know what we're doing, and so that they can be advised, or not advised, but give our best opinions and suggestions, and that way they could decide. So that's kind of where we're at now. And home life has been real busy. I had he's not so little like yours, Daniel, but he's 12, but he had a little bit of an emergency there, but we got through it, and he's back in school and recovering. So we are surviving here.
Well, good. Well, good. Well, what are some of the things that are posing an issue with that your deal that you think might be kind of iffy?
So the seller, I'm representing the seller, and the seller bought the home 3 years ago, and it was at the time when things were a little pricing was a little bit higher, and family things changed, and he had to move to a 4 bedroom. So he called me up again, and he said, "Hey, I really need to move. I need a 4 bedroom, but I don't want to leave the area." So he moved over to the subdivision right next door to where he's at now, and or where he was. And we have a buyer, we're under option, and the seller's in a little bit of a crunch, but I think the deal will go through. It's just a little bit of heartache because he, number one, purchased the home at the height of the market, 3 years ago, and he put a little bit over $90,000 of new things in the home: new AC, new HVAC, new water heater, new carpet, new flooring on the first floor, uh, renovated the kitchen, and put a really nice travertine back patio. So the total of that was about almost $91,000. And the roof is old. The roof is 17 years old. And buyer is buying cash, but he still has his concerns getting it covered through a homeowner's, right? And so he wants money. He wants $8,000 to be reduced from the price of the home. So that's where my seller's choking.
Yeah, I mean it happens. I feel like it goes back to the conversation, and it's a hard conversation to have with sellers up front, but we talk about it all the time, but buyers don't see potential, they see problems. And even if they're cash buyers, right away they start calculating in their mind. It's like, okay, well, yeah, I'm buying cash. Well, first thing I'm going to need to do is this, and everything starts adding up.
Hmm.
So yeah, as much as sellers can do to get ahead of those things, it's going to end up paying off big time in the end, especially dealing with roof and plumbing and HVAC, and a lot of that stuff goes deferred, but it's going to come back,
Well,
right?
it's
So,
also a tough conversation to have with your sellers regarding, they might put $90,000 worth of work into a property, but they're not going to get dollar for dollar back.
Yeah, no, he knows he
Ever.
lost all that. Yeah.
And even though we feel like it should be that way, it just isn't that way. And It's just like at my house. I put in a pool, but I know if I had to sell it, I'd be losing three-quarters of what we paid for that pool. So, but that's just part of committing to something like that and understanding that.
That was one of the very first conversations that I had with a seller, because a lot of times they do think that. And he in the very, because when you move into a home and you think that's going to be your home for a good while, 10 plus years, you start doing things to that home for your taste and your liking and your comfort and how you're best going to enjoy that home. And that was the conversation that I had in the very, very beginning. So I did tell him, I said, I see how you put the money in places where you feel you would enjoy the home: the back patio, a renovated kitchen, new carpet, nice floors, things like that, that they could enjoy. And so I did, because we know the market right now, I said, it'll be very complicated to turn around and get that money back. And so he thought about it for a couple of days and he came back and he goes, yeah, Elizabeth, I know, because I showed him the charts. I showed him the charts on what it looked like from 2003 all the way until now when it came to sales in that subdivision and in that zip code. So he thought about it. He said, no, you're right. He says, I did do this for myself and I don't plan to make any money off of it. Sometimes we win or lose, and I know I'm losing a lot, a whole lot of money here, not just the money that he put into the home, but just getting into the home. And so he's aware of that. And so he is one of those sellers that he's not going to dig his heels into the ground, I don't think, between today and tomorrow and say, no, I'm just absolutely not going to give 8,000 more dollars. I think he will understand the market because there's a little bit of competition around there, and he's a cash buyer, and someone else will say, yeah. I also shared with him yesterday that this is a cash buyer, so for him to close, it's easier than if he had a new buyer come in with a lender and needing that repair, because would need homeowners before closing anyways. So he understood that and he appreciated that. But again, it goes back to just helping them understand the footsteps here.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, cool. Well, we wish you the best with that one. Hopefully you get through it. No problem. So yeah. So Daniel, how are things going on your end? I know you have some little ones at home and you're trying to navigate some murky waters. Give us an update.
Yeah, well, I have some closings coming up, but we also have some uphill battles that we're trying to get through with structural engineers and repairs and language barriers and all the above. So, but that's just part of it. But can't complain. Also have some other buyers in the pipeline that I'm going to be showing. I have a showing this afternoon at 5:30. So, you just got to keep moving it. You got to keep moving the needle, and you can't ever rest on your laurels because that's going to be bad for your immediate future. So you got to always keep pushing, for sure.
For sure. Cool. Cool.
How about
Well,
you? How about you guys? How are y'all doing?
everything's going well. Josie, what's the latest with you? How's everything going in your neck of the woods? What are some wins? What do you got? Anything exciting in the works? What's the latest?
Lots of listing photos. So the listings are happening, the people are selling, people are interested because we're getting more orders for listing photos, more media things. And then we're just kind of prepping for this awesome Airbnb type of property that we're going to be doing some media for tomorrow in the McAllen area, in the downtown McAllen area. So Alan and Daniel are going to be listing that. So that's going to be a really, really good one. It's a great location, great property. So the goal is to really get maybe like 4, 5 different types of videos for potential buyers, whether it's going to be an investor or someone who is, thinking about keeping it as an Airbnb or maybe moving into it and renting out another unit. So we really want to cover all the bases of every potential buyer for this property. So we're going to be doing a very heavy media strategy for this one. So it's going to be pretty good. Looking forward
Yeah,
to it.
that's going to be fun. I think this particular property, it could go a lot of different ways. It could be someone looking for a house hack, in other words, living in one unit, renting out the other unit. It could be great for an investor looking for two units ready to rent. Could be good for a turnkey Airbnb. It could be ready for multi-gen. Multi-gen living is a big deal, especially with prices on the rise. A lot of people are consolidating and moving in with parents or moving in with children or bringing the grandkids and the children over to one house and living together. So yeah, and Josie does a great job at conveying those media pieces to really tell the story. Because I think that's where the value is going to be able to show the different avenues and it's in a great location right outside downtown. So that's
It's
going to
gonna
be
be
fun.
fun.
So cool. Sounds good. Well, a lot of good stuff going on. We've been noticing that sales have been up. I want to give y'all give a big high five to each other. Interest rates are coming down. Give us a virtual high five. Oh my gosh, we hit under 6%. Under 6%. That's the first time since God, I don't know when. I think 2022 was the last time we were somewhere in the sixes. So, and now I even saw this morning we're pushing the high fives. So exciting stuff going on. I remember my very first year in real estate. I didn't know anything about anything. And I went to one of our first sales meetings, and the in-house lender stood up in front of the whole room, and they basically threw a party because the rates had finally gone under 7. They were so happy. Oh my, we hit 6.9, and everyone was over the moon. And that was in late 2016. So it's all relative. People that have been in the real estate space for a little bit, they still think that sixes and sevens are great rates. People that purchased in the 80s and 90s, they were purchasing for 12, 15, 18%. So a lot of people are accustomed to that, but then we got spoiled with the twos and the threes. But now I think we're back to normal, and we're coming down. So we're seeing buyers coming out of the woodwork. So big pro tip for anybody out there watching, reach out to those buyers, let them know the good news about the rates. Because really, if they're not paying attention, they won't know. So it's our job to keep them in the loop, and that can end up saving them some money. So, or not only saving them some money, it can increase their buying power. If they were pre-qualified before, maybe they could purchase 240, maybe now with a little bit lower rates and sellers being able to contribute to closing, maybe they can get some more buying power, start pushing 260, 270, maybe a little higher. So they can get a little bit more house. So with that, I have something that I stumbled upon this morning and I got so excited about it. And maybe it's because now I make jokes with Josie all the time that I turn into an old man sometimes, looking around and
Sometimes.
well, all the time, maybe.
I'm joking.
Now I'm having those conversations that's like, wow, did you see that? That was a nice shed that they put back there, and
I
we
remember
just
we were walking, I was like, that was a nice trailer.
like that's a nice trailer right there. That's a real nice. When you start noticing things like that's a really nice fence, right? We noticed that yesterday at a listing photo shoot. And man, that's a nice fence. When you start noticing things like that, it's not so much the fancy car or the fancy clothes. It's like, man, that's a nice trailer right there. That's a good.
Like, ooh.
So anyway, I think it's my getting a little bit older, getting a little bit wiser, but this was something that I saw that really impressed me. So, and it's going to show my age a little bit. So if y'all are Gen Zers or a little bit younger, y'all might already know this trick, but I didn't know it. I just learned it right now, earlier this morning. So I'm going to start putting it into play, and that's why I wanted to share it with y'all. So let me share my screen here real quick. And y'all let me know if this is old man Allen talking or if this is something that you are learning for the first time here. So can y'all see my screen? Good? All right, cool. How to schedule your texts as a realtor so you never forget to follow up with a client. And this is something cool because it doesn't require an outside app, it doesn't require a subscription. This is not a CRM. This is something that you can do on your phone. So, Liz and Daniel, I know Daniel has iPhone, I know Josie has iPhone. Liz, are you team iPhone or team Android?
I am team iPhone.
Oh, okay, good. So hopefully this will be a little easier because I don't know exactly how this works for Android, but I'm pretty sure this is for iPhone. Okay. So how to schedule your text, we've all been there. It happens to every single agent out there. I'm guilty of it. We're all guilty. We've dropped the ball and we forget to follow up with a lead because we thought we'd remember. There's so much going on a day-to-day basis. Things get busy, and sometimes we forget. A day turns into a week, which turns into a year, and then you see that they bought with somebody else. And that's our fault, and that's a hard pill to swallow because we weren't following up. It stings. We've been there, we've done that. Well, this is me, right? Call me late to the party, or maybe I'm just old, but I just figured out how to schedule a text without a tool. Here's how to do it. And you can do it on your iPhone. If you're a team iPhone, this will probably be a little easier because you can do it on your iPhone. Here we go. Type out your message. Let me know if y'all have seen this before. And then you click the plus sign to the left of your message. So, hey, I was thinking about you the other day. Are you still planning on moving in April? How many times do we get those random thoughts in our mind? It happens to me all the time. Josie says I'm like a squirrel. I'm like, squirrel, squirrel. I'm like constantly, maybe that I'm not like a squirrel, right? But what's the saying? When you see a squirrel and then you go that way? I don't know. My attention just drifts. I go from,
That was a
one
very
extreme to the other.
squirrel. That was a very squirrel sentence. My attention just
Yeah, I mean, maybe I am a squirrel. I don't know. That's
it's
cool, whatever. It is what it is, right? But you get these great ideas, and you're like, oh my gosh, I need to remember to do that. I need to remember to do that. I'm a scatterbrain all the time, and I have my notes app, I have my task list, I have all my stuff, but still things happen and I forget. Well, here's a remedy for that. Click that plus sign. Here we go. Click send later. I didn't even know that was a function. How many hundreds of thousands of text messages have we sent on iPhone? I've never looked at this menu. I've never seen a send later. Have y'all? Liz, have you seen this before? Daniel, have you
No,
seen this? I know
I am
Daniel's
so
off
glad we're
screen right
going
now,
over
but
this.
I've never seen this.
I never saw it.
So I feel like I'm learning a new language here. Like I feel like I figured out a huge life hack. Click send. Have you seen this, Dan? Dude, this is going to be a big deal. This is going to help us a lot. This little thing is going to help us a lot. Check it out. Pick when you want to send it. So let's say you get a lead that comes in, an online lead or a referral comes in, and they say, hey, can you call me whatever tomorrow at 7 o'clock? Yeah, cool. Pull out your phone, send a text message to them tomorrow. If they want to talk to you on the phone tomorrow at 6:30, I'm sorry, at 7, send them a text at 6:30. Hey, just making sure we're still good for a phone call today at 7. You know what I mean? Pick when you want to send it. It's so easy that it's hard. But this is really going to help us a lot. I've already tested it out. I tested it out with Josie. I was like, I'm going to send this to you. Let me know if you get it. I'm sending it at 9:15. And she got it. So I know it works. I've tried it out. Pick when you want to send it. But here's where it gets really good. Think about applications where we can use this on a day-to-day basis, not only for little reminders, but here we go, 30-day check-in. Hey, we did a showing. What happens? Sometimes we don't hear from the folks for a while. They get busy. Stuff happens. Do a 30-day check-in. Do a 14-day check-in. Do a 7-day check-in. It doesn't matter. Too many agents rely on their CRMs a lot for stuff like this, but we can do this from the palm of our hand with something that we're looking at every day, multiple hours a day. Who's guilty here of getting that report from your iPhone and it says you have logged X number of hours on your iPhone last week or whatever it is, right? I see that and I'm like, oh my gosh. But I know that my business is on my phone. But we get it happens to all of us. We start scrolling, we go down the rabbit hole, we watch bowling videos. Happens to me all the time. So I have to bring it back in, get back focused, okay? But here we go, check-ins. It's 30-day after closing. Hey, it's been a month since your closing. Just want to check in and see how everything's going. Any questions, please let me know. 6-month home anniversary, birthdays, contract milestones. We could set up text schedules for contract milestones in advance.
Or your option
Hey,
fee is due,
what's that?
or your option fee is, or your earnest money option fee are due, or your option ending.
Yeah, I mean, this is great for contract compliance, for keeping everything on a timeline. And then, schedule text for every stage so nothing gets forgotten. Something like interest rates. Let's say we see something on our scroll or on the feed, interest rates just came down. And let's say, just like Daniel said, he has some buyers in the pipeline. Daniel, let's say maybe your 5 buyers that you have showing this week. Schedule it for the 5 buyers. Write it in your notes, copy and paste it, put it for your 5 buyers. Hey, just want to let y'all know we've had some great news regarding interest rates. This could be a big deal. Looking forward to showing you some more properties. Put them for the 5 buyers, schedule them all out to go out tomorrow at 8 a.m. Boom, you sent them. And those texts are going out while you're taking a shower, getting ready for the day. Right? Awesome stuff. You want to check in on equity. If you know a seller that has maybe mentioned something about selling, or someone that's lived in a house, or maybe they mentioned it to a friend, hey, just want to give you an idea of what you could maybe sell your house for, or how much equity you might be sitting in. We have these ideas running through our mind all the time. So instead of waiting, type it out and schedule it. Schedule it for next week, schedule it for next month. After you send a CMA, schedule some follow-ups. So not only can we have people in our CRM, but we can have them right on our phone. When we're thinking about something, we schedule a text. I think this is the coolest thing ever. I don't know about y'all, but I was freaking out.
It is
So,
pretty cool.
I think this could really be a big help. I think this will add 5 to 10 deals at least to our pipeline over the next few months, because we get leads to come in, and it's like Murphy's Law. It happens every single time. We just sit down for dinner and here comes an online call, right? You're in between bites trying to eat your taco, and here you go, you got an online lead coming in, right? So we take the call, say, hey, we're happy to show you. Sit down, schedule a text message to go out for tomorrow or before the showing, or follow up with them. Or even if you can't reach them, schedule the text, set it for later. And I think this
Mhm.
could be cool. What do y'all think?
I think it's great. When
Yeah,
you
I
had
mean,
mentioned it this morning, you're like, have you ever heard of send later? And Alan knows this, but I refuse to update my phone ever. Like when the new updates come out, I never update it because every time I do, I'm like, I'm gonna wait till they fix all the darn bugs, or I'm just gonna wait until the phone gives me no choice and it updates on its own, while I'm asleep or something. So I didn't know if it was like a new feature on an update because Alan's the type. He's the exact opposite. When a new update comes out, he like immediately downloads it. And me, I wait until they just download it in my phone. But I was like, what's this send now thing? So I checked and it was on mine too. And I was just like, well, this is fantastic because half the time I'm like, oh, I need to remember to send this text, but it's a little late. So I need to remember to send it tomorrow morning, but not too early. So it's always kind of that. So now I'm going to be using this feature a lot for sure.
yeah, I think this is really cool. So something really simple, but I think it can help everyone out there with even with your personal stuff, personal life, personal reminders. If you
You
have
know, Alan's already scheduled his happy birthday text to me for next year so he
I did.
doesn't forget.
I did.
I
I
know.
mean, you know,
So you don't forget. Yeah, I know.
but the real question is, I didn't forget, or the real thing is, I didn't forget. I put it in there. I
You
just
just
scheduled it
remembered
for
it like 11 months prior.
you.
Hey, it's the thought that counts.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, cool. So yeah, no, I think this is cool. And I don't know what it is, but I feel like on older versions of phones, I feel like there was something similar to this, like where you could schedule messages or schedule something, but then they stopped it. Does that ring a bell? Or you know, I feel like this was around at one time. Like you could schedule a message, but
I know
anyway.
you could do scheduling posts and stuff.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Might
That's
be what
right.
you're thinking
That's
about.
right. That's right. Yeah, you could schedule your social media posts, but did they do away with that or maybe that's still there? I have no idea. But anyways, no, I thought this was cool. So y'all be sure to take it, use it, apply it for whatever you need, and you know, I think this will help agents stay a little more organized. And really the for me, the hardest thing is getting everything out of my mind and either into my CRM on a piece of paper, in a notebook, on a whiteboard, on my reminder. Because if not, it'll just all start meshing together. And you know, sometimes Josie can see it in my eyes. She's like, "What's going through your mind?" You know, and sometimes it's like a hundred different things. So whatever you can use to get that information out, keep yourself a little more organized, I think will be a big help.
Well, you know what I was just kind of thinking, and I think you touched up on it, was like the online leads. Sometimes, and it's true. You are in mid-bite and somebody's calling, and then, whatever, that's neither here nor there. But they want to see a house, but maybe 5 days out. Like let's say it's Monday and they're like, oh, I can see it Saturday. I don't know about y'all, but the probability of me remembering to contact them on Saturday, like, hey, are we still on for today? It's not very high, the probability. So this is super helpful because now you can just go in and after the call, schedule it for Saturday morning at 8, 9 a.m. Hey, are we still on for meeting today? And then you don't have to really worry about it. And when they reply and you see their reply and you're like, oh, my handy dandy phone that reached out. But yeah, no, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be great. It's fantastic. Thank you for sharing.
So yeah, good. Well, yeah, if that's all we got, I'll go ahead and open it up to Q&A. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. So I hope you guys found this helpful and put this into practice. And we'll see y'all next week. We'll go ahead and continue with Q&A. So y'all go ahead and stay on the call. If y'all have any questions or if y'all need to go, y'all feel free to go tackle the rest of your day. I'm going to stop recording. We'll see y'all next week.